So I got that response. People would say, yeah, yeah, and then quickly change the conversation just in case you started telling them about your problems with writing the novel. And karte karte, my rule for myself, because I felt this is karmically what you are doing. If you are saying, I am going to write this novel, get up in the morning and write 1,000 words before breakfast. Not before breakfast, but before you brush your teeth. So very often I would not brush my teeth till 4:30. Because 1,000 words sometimes takes some doing. And sometimes I'd brush my teeth at 9 o'clock and I had finished my work for the day. And I'd just do nothing and lie around doing nothing, enjoying myself, just lying on the cool tile of the floor, looking up at the fan rotating, and watching people come and go, talking of Michelangelo. It was just lovely. And was horrible. And then after 3.5 years of doing that, I had 750,000 words. I thought, this is 3 times the length of War and Peace. Isme ek novel hai. If there is no novel in this, I should kill myself. But I didn't, luckily, because there wasn't a novel in it. The novel had to be grown out of that. But that's
But you
that's
did
the
pick it
process.
out from what
Hey,
you had.
Raval, come and sit in the front. No? Nice person looking. Huh. Sis.
Yeah. So, but it is challenging to take your family history and, build a narrative around it, right?
See, I think one of the risks that one takes with any writing, I think, first of all, family is, okay, if you have a writer in the family, pachtao, as they say, okay, because it is bad news. It is a bad thing to have a writer in the family. They are looking at you as raw material about 40% of the time. Okay, so sometimes when you're ranting at them, they're thinking, that's how she rants. So her rhythms change when she's talking, and her rhythm becomes this when she's shouting. I must remember this. Can I write it down now, or should I wait? We'll let her finish. But it's inevitable. What is there? What do you have as a writer? What do you have? Melli Gobhai told me that his cousin once told him, Mella, you will never be a painter. You have not suffered. Okay. You must suffer. And that sounds like a little sad because, surely there are other better ways. And did P.G. Wodehouse suffer, I wonder, before he wrote? I don't know. Okay. I'm saying your experience, whether it's good or it's bad, and your experience includes your aesthetic experiences, which means your writing is, your reading, your writing, your experience of words, your experience of language, the language in which you speak, the language in which you think, the language in which you are forced to think when you are outside in a city that is not speaking your language. All these become part of who you are, and this is what you have. This is what you will work with. So family is part of that. Family is part of that material. It will have to be. So some stories will be set in the family, some stories will be set outside it. But that's who we are. That's inevitable. It's, recently photographers have started doing this to their families, which I'm so happy about because now photographers suddenly go and take photos of their families. The families all get really ticked off because the photographer doesn't come when everyone's nicely dressed and looking nice and showing good camera angle. They come when everyone's slumped in the beds and looking tired and whatnot. Then they come and take your photo. And people say, "Arey, banyan mein tha main. Why you didn't tell? I would have just done shaving and whatnot." But they want candid camera. They want everyone to be lying around like that. So this is what happens with creative people. We just looking at you and we are sucking out your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings, everything. And one of the good things is that you might end up immortal. You might be Dora Maar. You might be Mona Lisa. You might be Evan the Big Who.
Nice trying to convince everyone on that one.
No, I'm saying, but the downside is that you suddenly read yourself and you think, I'm not like that. That's not me at all. I don't speak like that. And someone's looking at you and saying, babe, that is how you speak. Or at least that's how I think you speak. It's a version. And the version, have you ever seen a photograph of yourself that is as gorgeous as you are? No. You think, Arey, kya, what? I was looking so nice. Look how he made me. Chee, dirty. And then you talk for passport photographs. It's actually because inside your head, we all carry around an image of ourselves, which is nicely photoshopped by hope and imagination. You know, it's been adjusted neatly for, I am 28. Meher Moose can be any age she wants to be. I am 28 inside my head, and I walk into rooms and there is a breathless pause because of how good looking I am. That's inside my head. Now it doesn't work when I'm actually walking into a room, people say, mote aa gaye. Continue doing whatever they are doing. But that doesn't stop me from being someone inside my head. Now when a representation of me is presented to me, I think what rubbish, this photographer cannot do anything. But the problem is, this is exactly what happens when you read a profile of you or an interview with you and you think, I don't speak like that. Sorry.
Yeah, I interviewed him once. Okay, so I want to ask, so your next is apparently a children's book. But that's not what I want to ask you. What I want to ask you is, you've done many kinds of writing. You know, children's book, poetry, non-fiction, fiction. Do you have like caps for each kind? You know, how do you switch from one to the other?
You know, the funny thing about it is that for me, it doesn't reveal itself till it reveals itself. You know, I mean, so I see myself as going to this huge wall. It's a fake wall. It's like a facade wall, okay? And there are windows in the wall. All the windows are closed in the morning when you go. And you look at the windows and you say, which window am I going to open today? So then there's something behind some window, a shape, a movement, a shadow flickering, a color. And you think, okay, this one, and you open it and words come out. And each word, the first word that you pin down onto the page, because they're all floating about, the first word that you pin down on the page is a word that will limit the next word. It immediately, the first word that is pinned down limits your choices of the next word. The second word that is pinned down gives you a sense of what the sentence is going to be. And already you smell death. Because now the idea is going, it is becoming a thing, it is demanding a certain logic. It is saying, now I want you to have a narrative, I want you to be this way, I want you to be who I am, I need this out of you. And suddenly you have the horrible darkling suspicion that this is going to be a novel and you're going to have to do all that work about, you know, like who and where and what and why and when. And at that point you feel like saying, I want to go back to my window and throw it open and see something else. It's an image, okay? Like all images, it is a partly real, partly like constructed, partly fake, partly everything. But it is the only way I can explain what I'm doing. And, you know, like there's a piece of note paper, and that, I give you a bunch of sheets. I'll just read it to you because that's what happens. Woke up and I thought, you haven't written at all. Right, dirty fellow. Only going out and doing readings. So I wrote, my run mind chew, oh don't stop you. My sit mind who, get up you. First things first, butter for fat, the moth may burst. This is worse than I thought. You know, one of the things that I feel very strongly about is how words should jump. The sound, feelings. We've got so much in the language which we don't use because we're so stuck to the sense of things. So then after that I wrote Twisted. It's a short poem called Twisted.